Knightline is brought to you by the Dever Team, your source for New Smyrna Beach real estate and everything else New Smyrna Beach. Go to www.thedeverteam.com and call UCF alumni Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach needs. 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636.
Welcome to UCF Knightline, your source for UCF sports and former player information.
Hello, Night Nation. This is Andrew Phegley coming to you from the 1148 studios. This is Knightline 179. Joining me as always,
Trace Trylko. Hello, everyone. Our position-by-position reviews continue with the wide receivers and tight ends. Former O-lineman Tyler Hudanick joins us on our Knightline hotline. We're talking Knights and Apollos with Jamie Say of Channel 6 Sports, Hoops insider Ben Stout on UCF's bounce-back win, and how many mascots is too many mascots? That's in Ask Knightline. But first,
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
All right, the Orlando Apollos lift off in less than a week, and they'll do so with several former UCF Knights making the 52-man roster. Are these 5 Knights? Offensive tackle Aaron Evans, defensive tackle Tony Gerard, wide receiver Rennell Hall, offensive tackle Chris Martin, and center Jordan McCray.
I like that clip, by the way, the Apollo.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was paying homage there. I'm actually, and I was telling you this, I'm actually listening to Buzz Aldrin's book about Apollo 11.
Now, does he narrate it?
He doesn't narrate it, but there is an interview with him in the book, and his voice is on that.
How old is he now? He's got to be getting close to 90, isn't he?
I don't know if I'm not sure if he's alive still.
No, he's alive.
Is he?
I think he's alive.
I thought they were both. I know Neil Armstrong died a few years ago. Let's see real quick if I can look this up.
The Apollos opening up at UCF's home football stadium Saturday night, 8 o'clock, against the Legends from Atlanta. The Atlanta Legends. Never played a game.
They're already legends.
They're legendary.
And one of the legends is Justin Holman. No, he got cut?
Didn't make the roster.
Oh, yeah. See, I haven't seen this. So he is 89 years old.
Yeah, got to be pushing 90.
Born January 20th, 1930 in Glen Ridge, New Jersey.
Still spry, though, that Buzz Aldrin.
He'll
Still spry.
He'll punch you in the face if you say the wrong thing.
There's a really good clip you can find online of him taking a shot
Google
at a guy.
Buzz Aldrin punches dude in the face.
Yeah, you'll get there.
Yeah, you'll get there. It was awesome.
So it ends up being 5 Knights on the roster.
So Holman got cut from the other one.
Yeah, from Atlanta.
Oh, well.
Yeah. So we will not see him
it was probably that accuracy problem that he has. Possibly.
These teams are keeping 3 quarterbacks, so he was 4th man out.
Yeah, that's bad.
And Jeff Godfrey,
that
recent
was
guest
an injury
on the Sons of UCF.
Yeah.
Really good interview, though, with Jeff on that show.
Oh, yeah, you have it right here.
Yeah.
Justin Holman didn't make. Shaquan Burkett
I was
got
surprised
cut.
by that.
I was surprised, too. And that would have been really cool. I thought that this would have been really good for him. Justin Holman and Shaquan Burkett both need to go to Canada and see what they can do. They do. Because guys make it up there that sometimes don't make it down here. They need to try. If they got in shape to do this, they need to do that. You know, maybe it's not that easy. Maybe you have to get an invite up there or something, but
still a rooting interest now in the Apollos, and I'm excited to bridge the gap out of college football and the NFL, see something local and see something new. And they've announced some big TV extensions and deals this week. They're going to have games on the NFL Network, CBS Sports Network.
On the NFL Network?
Yeah. They worked out an agreement to be on the NFL Network, which I think is interesting.
That's
because,
really interesting, actually.
You know, are they kind of a feeder league? You know,
well, they obviously are now.
Yeah, you know.
Oh, wow. That's a big deal right there.
It is a big deal. And they're going to be on TNT or one of those. Bleacher Report's going to air games. So you want to watch their games, you're going to be able to find their games. And
very cool.
I'm
and
planning on going to the first one.
Yeah, you're supposed to be able to. They're going to have an app. It's not out yet, which I'm surprised because it's less than a week and their app's not out yet. So
and they're owned by a tech company, so you would have thought maybe that app would come out.
But they're going to supposedly be able to live stream all the games on any of the games, even out of your area, any of the games on your phone or tablet or whatever. So
we get to know a little bit more about the Apollos with Jamie Say, who's coming up. She talks to us about that. Interesting, she's going to be the play-by-play voice for the Apollos on radio. And
speaking
we talk
of
UCF
play-by-play,
as well.
I got to give a shout-out to Despina Barton. She did play-by-play the other night for women's basketball on ESPN. And I thought that was really cool.
The UCF game?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool, and I was like, man, this voice sounds so familiar. I know this voice. And I'm like, it's Despina. It has to be. And then later on, the other person was, said her name, and then they turned the camera around, and there she was.
Yeah, there's not two of those names.
No, but she did a very good job. I was, pleasantly surprised that she did such a good. I'd never heard her do play-by-play before.
Yeah, nor I.
So, and especially on ESPN, that's really cool to get the opportunity, I think, to do that. So I gave her a little text, instant message on Twitter, and was like, "Hey, that was awesome," and she said thank you, of course, and all that stuff. So anyway. Very cool. Little shout out.
That is cool. Yeah, women's basketball, of course, continues to win, and they're getting a little bit more national exposure, too. So they're in some higher profile games, and that's good for them and good for the program.
Very good win the other night for them. Very close win over Houston, but quite a good win. And then you saw the UConn women lost last night as well.
I did not know that.
Okay, I let it out of the bag. We're recording this on Friday because we want to watch the Super Bowl, and we wanted to give you guys something to listen to on Sunday night, Monday morning. So it is Friday. I just totally,
I did not know they lost. Who they lose to?
Well, it was number 2 against number 3.
Boy, they're good, though.
Louisville.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, and they lost by, I can't remember. It was a pretty good number, though. It wasn't like 1 or 3. I think it was more of a number than that. So still that was a non-conference game. So I don't know how much they will fall from where they're
not
at.
Much.
Probably not. 2 and 3. It should be pretty evenly matched. What else?
Well, we have Tyler Hudanick on this week, but our position by position reviews are wide receivers and tight ends. So following week we'll talk about the offensive line. I think the most high-profile loss at wide receiver is Dredrick Snelson, but if you're going to lose somebody from a position group, you're pretty stacked at wide receiver, and as we talked about last week, at running back as well.
Yeah. Well, Gabe Davis, Trey Nixon, Marlon Williams all coming back.
Plus the versatility you have with Otis Anderson, Adrian Killens can catch a pass. You got a lot of options.
Yeah, and plus the recruits that we've gotten that have signed and stuff like that. So I think we'll be perfectly fine. Wide receiver still, even though one of these guys, I don't know about Dredrick getting drafted in the NFL, but we'll see.
Yeah, of all the projections that are out,
days,
projections
if
are out there. You're not seeing much chatter about UCF guys in the 7 rounds of the NFL draft.
Well,
a slew of free agent signees the day after.
This is what happens when you leave early, and you may not should have, should not have. I guess I should have said. I don't think he should have gone personally. That's just my opinion, but
If you don't get drafted, was it worth it then? If you hook on as a free agent somewhere? You can still make a team, but
maybe he's I'm not sure if he's graduated or not. Probably not. Maybe, though. He could have, because I know that a few of the players that are juniors have graduated. So, I just don't think it was a good idea. I hate when these players feel like they need to go to the NFL before they're ready. It was the same thing with the corner that went a couple of years ago. Jacoby Glenn, yeah. He obviously went too early. And he had a stellar year that year. He did have a great year. He had a great year. Snelson, though, didn't really have that great of a year.
Not as good.
He was playing the slot. You don't get as many balls thrown at you at that position. I think Gabe Davis was the leader on the team this year as far as wide receivers went.
Gabe Davis is strong.
He is. Yeah, definitely.
I'd like to have a couple back from the Fiesta Bowl. Where Gabe Davis is concerned. But, I mean, you have any concerns at all about this position group?
No.
I'll tell you what, when
I'm not worried about many of the positions, to be honest with you.
I know you don't worry about these things.
Not yet.
When we learned, surprisingly so, that Michael Colubiali would be back, that he proved to be just such an asset during this just concluded football season. To get that extra year of eligibility, and boy, there were many a drive he and Mackenzie hooked up in particular, and he kept something going, and just a good presence on the team.
Speaking of extra years, I was trying to get Hudanick to explore that possibility a little bit, but he seems to have used all his eligibility.
He may be done.
He's done, yeah. Never was out an entire season. He kind of was in and out, so unfortunately.
Yeah.
Didn't have the same deal that Michael Colubiali did. So that's kind of a bummer.
So for me, the interesting thing here is what we see of Jake Hescock. I mean, he caught a pass.
He'll be the guy now.
Well, I mean, there's some competition, I imagine, there. Remember in Josh Heupel's first recruiting class, there were a couple of tight ends that were signed, but you'd expect to see him.
Not like him.
You'd expect to see him be the guy. He's the 6'7", 252 pounds. He's big. You see him out there.
Yeah. Well, he caught Mac's first touchdown pass, that little jump pass in the Memphis game.
Well, if he could emerge and just really take that next step.
I think he will.
I mean that's a big body to find out on the field.
The job is his. I mean, he's in line for it. He was second in the tight end. He was out there a lot this year. He just didn't catch a lot of balls, but he was out there. And, definitely did his blocking and everything else that he needed to do. So
that'll be, I think, that's see who the competition is at the tight end position. I mean, I'd say it'd be his job, going into spring camp and see him in the spring game. Again, though, we didn't expect Michael Colubiali back, and that ended up being a good thing. And now it's time to pass that torch to a new player.
Yeah, and Hescock transferred here from Wisconsin is where he came from. He is a redshirt sophomore.
Oh, he is a redshirt sophomore. Well, they don't have that on this roster.
His freshman year spent the season on the scout team at Wisconsin. Sat out the year after transferring here in 2017. So 2018 was his first year playing this year. And so he will be a redshirt junior this year.
So that's what this asterisk means.
Yeah.
That's got it.
Okay.
Got
so
it.
I just happened to have it right in front of me.
So it's 2 years of eligibility then.
Well, yeah, depending on... He was a freshman when he transferred, so so he had to sit out a year, so that was the redshirt year. So, yeah, so he'll have 3.
3?
Yeah. So he has this last year, this year, and one more.
Math with Andrew.
Well, I mean, you were confused.
I was slightly.
I was trying to look. I'm going to look here real quick and see how quickly I can get to the. Signing day is still coming up. Believe it or not.
No signing day event because there's not much of an event to gather around and watch.
And I guess it's the first time in a long time that UCF has not done a signing event, which is,
just goes to show you the bulk of those guys went in December.
Who went to that besides Kevin Reese?
Kevin lamented that in the dungeon on the message board at UCFsports.com that there was no event.
He was probably the one person that went.
I don't know that it was well attended, but I saw Kevin at basketball Thursday night.
Was he wearing his Knightline shirt again?
And I just saw him with a UCF jacket because it was still chilling.
Kevin. Okay, let's see here. Recruiting commitment list. Let's see. How many wide receivers do we have? My TV over here is stuck with this weird-looking girl just staring at me. It's kind of weird.
She is, in fact, staring right at me.
She's staring right at me. I'm feeling weird. Okay, so isn't that weird?
And
that happens?
While you're looking for that, we got to talk about the kicker that UCF has brought in from Arizona. That's pretty big news.
Big deal, actually, because that's one of the positions that we really needed somebody. All right, so Justin Menard, wide receiver, 5'11", 177, not a big wide receiver at all. And then Amari Johnson, wide receiver from Miami, 5'9", 165. So these are not big wide receivers. These are slot receivers, obviously. that Heupel is bringing in this year. Last year, class, who did we get that were wide receivers? Kevin Ahmed, I guess is the way you say that. So there was one.
Because it's a stacked position.
Chris Deloach was a tight end, and that was the only one.
Ahmad was listed on the Fiesta Bowl depth chart behind Gabe Davis and Cam Stewart.
He could probably be right in there. We had a wide receiver that transferred as well, and I can't remember who that was at the moment. But I think it was one of Frost's commits as far as that went. And I don't see a tight end in this season, although there are a couple guys that are listed as athletes who could become tight ends at one point. There's a guy that's Deontay Stanley, athlete from South Carolina, 6'2", 185, so he's probably a wide receiver. Ryan O'Keefe from Round Rock, Texas, 5'10", 170. He may be a wide receiver. So 2 wide receivers technically, but there's other guys that could be. So
a lot of depth.
Yeah, there's
stacked at the wide receiver position.
Yeah. I'm excited to see this Tremont Morris Brash guy from DC. I think he was the guy that committed at the Gatorade game at the Citrus Bowl, defensive end, 6'3", 218. There were some guys that are visiting this weekend as well. During Super Bowl Sunday, they'll be visiting. So.
Well, the new kicker, Daniel Obarski, Hamilton High School, Chandler, Arizona, visited earlier in the week and now has announced coming to UCF, 19th ranked kicker in the country.
I implore you to go watch his tape.
A kicker's tape?
Yeah.
Why so?
He's got a heck of a leg.
6'2", 180.
A heck of a leg.
Mr. Obarski.
Yeah. He's tall, lanky, and boy, can he kick the football.
What kind of nickname do you think he's going to have? I got Matty Ice. He met with Matt Wright.
Something ski, I bet you.
You really went out on a limb with that.
Well, I'm just saying. Kick ski or
kick ski. Yeah.
You know, hopefully it's not wide left ski or something like that.
No, none of that. We don't need any of that. And big cleats to fill. We talked about it with Mac Loudermilk, punter, and Matt Wright. I mean, these are 110% committed. He has on his Twitter. No funny nickname. He's just at Daniel_Obarski.
Obarski
was being recruited at Purdue. And then spurned the Boilermakers.
Yeah, I don't see him on here on the Rivals site anyway. Maybe they don't put kickers on this. I don't know. You would think that they would, though. I don't know. Maybe I would have to look at the commitment list. Maybe they haven't updated it yet.
They just must have a template, these kids. They all use the same basic language on their Twitter and their Instagram. His reads, first off, I'd like to thank everyone at Purdue University for giving me an opportunity to play for a great program. However, with that being said, I'd like to announce my commitment to the University of Central Florida. It has been a crazy journey, but after talking with my parents and checking with myself, I believe he checked with himself. I like that.
Well,
I believe this is in my best interest. I am now officially shutting down my recruitment. Can't be more excited to be a part of the UCF family. Thank you to all my coaches who have helped me through this process. This is my favorite part. Please respect my decision.
They all say that. But he didn't say the no interviews, please. No interviews at this time.
Give him a call.
Well, I may.
Give him a call.
Yeah, anyway, there is some tape if you go out there and look. He was in the Coles kicking championship thing or whatever. ColesKicking.com player profiles, Daniel or Baus, however you say it.
You got to come up with a nickname. If you interview him, ask him about that nickname thing.
The Big Orbowski.
He's 6'2", 180. He's not really
I don't know.
But I kind of like that.
Yeah. Because he's got a big leg. I don't know. I mean, he can kick, though. He's kicking from, honestly, if you look at this tape, he's kicking from the 50. And he's making, and that would be, 70 yards?
67.
67? So, yeah, he's kicking right here. The clip that I'm looking at the thumbnail for, he is at least a yard behind the 50.
I like it.
Yeah, and he makes it. I'll tell you what happens before you watch the tape. He makes it.
I think he's going to make all of them on his tape.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
But in this competition, it was a competition with all these kickers. I mean, it was tons of kickers, and he was the winner of the thing. So
All right, well, we've covered special teams now. We don't have to cover that one.
At least the 8th-ranked kicker in America.
So
Kicker's
next week,
a big deal.
We'll talk about offensive linemen, so we will reflect a little bit on Tyler Hudanick as our position-by-position reviews continue. And just getting you ready for the spring game, coming up soon enough.
In April.
Well, we're in February now.
It's true.
And spring camp will start in March.
It's true.
So it's not that far.
It's not
we
that
go
far
group by
away.
group, week after week. We'll get there.
We'll be doing this for weeks.
That's right. Knightline, your source for the best UCF conversation, continues in just a moment. We welcome former offensive lineman Tyler Hudanick back on to reflect on his career with the Knights.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline and Knightline Postgame Live. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Coaches kind of tell me that I'm one of the nastiest guys they've met on the field, see us all on the field, and overall just kind of walk from whistle to whistle and go from there and just love to be physical.
A young Tyler Hudanick, nearly 4 years ago, episode 36 of Knightline, March the 29th, 2015, a recruit coming in under George O'Leary.
If you listen back, our voices sound so young.
Us or him?
Both. That was a long time ago.
Which is nice. If you go to nightlinesports.com, you can see all the archives and you'll see the names of the guests, and it's interesting to go back and listen to them. I thought that was a pretty good sound clip, and you had a chance to catch up with him during the week. I don't like writing former offensive linemen. They still feel here.
I know. Yeah.
So I don't like writing that. But,
well, that's the worst part. I've said it a million times. It's the worst part about college football is that kids move on. And they grow up, and it's horrible. I hate it. I hate when my favorite players leave. He was one of my favorites just because I think he was one of the first recruits, one of the first ones that I talked to. And I remember vividly talking to him then.
Then we replayed that on a Knightline replay in which we cut a fresh intro to it. And one of the things that we said during our exchange was that if this guy can stay healthy, he's going to be critical on the offensive line. And that's probably his grittiness and toughness will be remembered by Knights fans, but he certainly had some injury issues along the way.
Absolutely. Bad knees.
Well, let's hear more from him now, nearly 4 years after we first spoke with him.
All right, joining me now on the Knightline hotline, a friend of ours from before, because he came on like right before he started here at UCF, and he's back. Just finished his senior year, Tyler Hudanick, or Hootie, as the guys have told me that they call him. Tyler, thank you so much for coming on tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
It's been quite a ride. You've been through a lot there at UCF. 3 coaching staffs, a pretty big injury through the middle there.
It was one hell of a ride. I tell everyone that nowadays. I wouldn't trade any of it for the world. Now I'm done playing ball and hopefully get into the world of coaching. But I couldn't be more thankful for the lessons and the life lessons. And three different coaches is a pretty unique situation. And now that I'm getting into the world of coaching, it's only going to help me a lot down the road in the world of networking and all that in that regard. My time at UCF was well worth it, and I'm so glad. And I think even one of the last interviews I did, or maybe even last time I was on here, I've had no regrets about my decision coming to UCF, and I still haven't 4 years later. And it was one hell of a ride.
Well, you went through some difficult stuff. I mean, and I don't totally know what your injury. Did you tear your ACL at one point?
Yeah. So I had a pretty significant knee injury sophomore year, halfway through the year. I tore my ACL, my MCL, and my PCL.
I didn't realize it was all of them.
It was pretty rough. And a meniscus injury there too. What's involved with that as well. But yeah, it was tough.
Well, so you kind of know what Mackenzie's going through, unfortunately. His is a little different situation, but not a lot different than that.
Yeah, I was just actually in the building today talking with our medical staff, and and I talk to them all the time about how KZ's doing, and I see him in there all the time. Because sadly, I just had another knee surgery 2 weeks ago just to get my knee scoped and clean some stuff up since I was done. And when they went in there, they found out that my ACL was torn again. So I played my senior year this past season with a torn ACL for about half the year. But yeah, KZ and I, we talk all the time. He just had his final surgery this past weekend. Hopefully his final surgery for a long time. But yeah, I would never put ours in the same category just because he's had to deal with a lot more than I have in many different regards. But I mean, the kid's a trooper, and I was talking to our trainer today, different things that you would never expect in this process with his injury. He's overcoming quicker than they ever expected, which is awesome.
It's really amazing that he's coming along as quick as he is. You mentioned earlier that you played for 3 different staffs. That's a difficult thing, and all of you guys that are in the senior class this year had to do that. You went through the 0-12 season. You had a myriad of highs and lows in this whole thing with the injury in the middle and everything else. How did you keep going and want to get out there and make yourself get out there and play football at times?
Yeah, and, it taught me a lot, especially those 3 different coaches. But when that injury came around and stuff wasn't going well sometimes, it really tested your character. But I felt like I owed everything to my teammates and the guys I was playing with. I had a great relationship with all those guys. And then, my love for football, it's unlike many other people. And that's why I'm going to continue to be in this game, because it's all I know. And that's why I want to coach and continue to learn more about this game and spread what I know to others. But it wasn't easy. I'll tell you that. It was not easy to do what you have to do at this level every single day and go through some of the things that I had to go through. But like I said earlier, it's only going to help me down the road, and the lessons I've learned and the tough times I've gone through, being down in the dumps with an injury and sometimes being out on the field when your buddies are out there balling out. But I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, you were persistent, especially with the coming back from the knee injury in the beginning, and what you just said earlier. You told us that you played with a halfway torn ACL or a torn ACL this year. That's pretty incredible, because that's not easy to do. That shows your heart for sure. So you came from Pennsylvania. What have you been able to tell your friends back home or whatever watching you and all that about UCF?
I tell people this all the time, that this place is growing. Someone asked me probably halfway through my senior year if I were to give one word about my time at UCF. I told the person the word growth, just because the way this place is continuing to evolve and this place is growing, and it's going to become a national powerhouse in probably all sports that we have. But, my time at UCF, I tell people all the time that this place is awesome, especially being from PA, where I think this week they're supposed to get that tundra or whatever, the cold tundra up there of negative 20-some degrees. I tell you, it's not a bad place to live at all for a couple of years and go get an education and play some ball. But, the people that watched me, they knew my goal at first was try to go to the NFL, but obviously with the injuries that I've had, that kind of went out the window. But, they tell me that they think I made the right decision, and they support me. And I continue to tell them that this place isn't like any other school. I have a lot of friends that play ball across the country, friends that play ball back in PA. My little brother's playing at Division II school back there, and there's no other school like UCF, and it's going to continue to grow, and I can't wait to see where it ends up.
I want to ask you a little bit about the 3 different coaching staffs. And I'm not going to ask you which one you liked better or anything like that, because, that's kind of difficult. But there had to be differences with each one. They were definitely different styles.
Yeah, exactly. Each coach brought something different to the table, and I think they all excelled in different areas. Coach O'Leary, sadly, the year I had him for my first year was the rough year we had. But I still learned a lot from that man, and I respect him greatly. He taught me just what it's like to be a leader in the community, and how to act, and how to go with your everyday life to have a purpose in your everyday life. And then Coach Frost came in, and he brought a lot of life to the program, obviously on the field even. But he's a guy that you can sit down and have a relationship or have a conversation about anything outside of football, football related, anything. He taught me that this game is not just about X's and O's and about football. It's about the relationships that you create and the lives that you change. And that's really when I found out that I wanted to coach, just those coaches and the impact they had on me. And then Coach Hype came in with his staff this year, similar to Coach Frost and their staff, really trying to get to know each other and create that relationship. I know they only had 1 year to do that, but he definitely taught me that aspect as well. And I learned a lot this year about even the X's and O's of football that I thought I already knew, but even little things here and there that not only Coach Hype taught me, but the rest of the staff. But yeah, Coach Hype, he's a heck of a coach, and I'm excited. This is his first year as a head coach, and I think he has a bright future ahead of him, and as well as many coaches on that staff. How
did you like working with Coach Ellerby? I hear a lot about him and how great of an offensive line coach that he is.
Yeah, Coach Ellerby, first of all, he's a heck of a dude outside of the game. He's very, like I said, one of those guys that wants to create that relationship and change people's lives. But, when it comes to the X's and O's of football, the man's a whiz. He knows how to prepare for a team, and he knows how to get us in the right position. And up front, he definitely knows how to, first of all, motivate us as players, tell us what we're supposed to do and how to do it correctly with, great passion and effort. I think that's one of his biggest things. And then the technique of the position, he's got all the answers to that too. So he really does a good job of coaching the position, and as an offense, or he helps call the plays, or they all do, but he does a great job in that. Yeah, he's one hell of a coach, and I couldn't be more thankful for stuff I learned from him as well as my other offensive line coaches, and hopefully I can use what they taught me in the next step of my career.
Absolutely. Hey, did he use that little tweet thing here at UCF? I know he did it in Missouri.
Yes, he did. Yep, he used that. Yeah.
What did you think about that when you first heard him do that?
First of all, I didn't really think much of it, but then after a while, I realized what he was actually doing when he said that. So I knew what it meant finally, and it kind of clicked in my head. So we joke around it every once in a while, me and the older guys in the room, just to screw around with them every once in a while. But it was funny. I
saw a feature that somebody did while he was at Missouri about that, and he told the whole story. And I thought that was really cool. It made him extremely human, as far as I was concerned, and he just seems like a real dude,
Yeah. Another thing about him is he always tells us all the time that, he gets kind of nervous talking in front of people or in front of cameras. And he might not sometimes come off as a very personal guy, but that's one thing that I think he does excel in inside of the football building, inside his O-line room, is he really knows how to create those relationships and get to know you and be able to motivate you intrinsically and all that. But I know what you mean when sometimes he might not seem like a really personal guy, but he is.
Yeah, no, I thought that from the beginning that I saw him that he may be taken like that a little bit, but I know that that's not the case. Just from I'm kind of like that too. Sometimes people think that I'm always mad or something, but I'm not.
It's hard. Yeah, he was an offensive lineman, and it's hard. Some offensive linemen, most offensive linemen, obviously, don't have the greatest personalities all the time. And there's dudes that just want to play ball and strap up the helmets and not really talk about anything else. But
you're a pretty mellow dude too. So you fit right in that vein. I've come up to you a few times and I was like, man, did I make him mad? I just wanted to say hi.
Yeah, I think every guy up front has that side to him, but some, not many, and more I've been around have that other side of them where they can be the nice guy or have a conversation. But it just comes with the position. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to ask you as well, what's the future for Coach Heupel and his staff and UCF in the very near future?
I think they'll definitely continue to have success. They have some of the best coaches definitely on the offensive side of the ball that I've been around. And then Coach Shannon, he's well known, and his staff is I mean, I obviously don't know as much just because I wasn't on that side of the ball, but obviously we had a good year on defense, and Coach Shannon's known pretty well for his defense, and I think they'll continue to do well. I definitely think they can top what we did this year, which obviously is going to be hard to do, but I think you'll continue to see seasons like the past two for as long as they're there, and hopefully for the years after. But I think that staff, there's definitely some young coaches on that staff that want to continue in their careers and to continue to take next steps in their careers. I don't know what their timeline looks like, but I hope all of them, even as I get into the world of coaching, all of them continue to take steps in their career, which if it's either someone leaving to become a head coach or someone leaving to become a coordinator. But I definitely think UCF is on the rise, and those coaches are definitely on the rise.
Have you looked at the guys that they've recruited for this season at all? Have you checked out any of their tape or anything, their huddle videos or any of that stuff?
Somewhat. Nothing crazy.
They're a little bit of a different guy than Frost wanted, I think.
A tad different for sure. Then it all goes based off of what we need now after what we kind of lost this year with senior class leaving and injuries and whatnot. But
yeah, they seem like they're really big guys, number one. I mean, Frost, when he was recruiting offensive linemen, wanted the more lean offensive linemen that could really get down the field. These guys honestly seem like just really good run blockers and pass blockers as far as they're a little bit more big. And it seems to me like Heupel wants to build an SEC offense style, size and everything else in the American, which would, just destroy a lot of these teams. I mean, I don't think anybody else is recruiting guys like we are.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I agree. Definitely, that's a need up front, especially losing a couple guys up front, as in Wyatt. I hope Jake Brown, I think, is coming back or is back, so that'll be huge. Yeah, that's a need up front, and the most I really know about is I talked to Dylan, the freshman QB who early enrolled. He's a character, and he tells me all the time about the guys that are coming in. I think they're supposedly are supposed to commit, or he might have already committed a big offensive lineman coming out of Hawaii, which will be huge for us, setting a brand in Hawaii sort of now with all the guys we'll have here. But that's really the most I know about it.
That's kind of an interesting little pipeline there that's been made all the way from Hawaii.
Yeah, that'll be huge if they can establish a recruiting base like you said, a pipeline in Hawaii. And I think it'll be a lot more appealing to people when they see big guys come out of Hawaii, like you already have McKenzie and Dylan, and hopefully this offensive lineman they're talking about.
Well, you guys definitely had the run game thing going this year, I think even a little bit more than last year. It was very important. It's extremely important in Heupel's offense. Were you expecting a guy like Greg McCrae to come out and run for 1,000 yards?
The only reason I would say no is just because we have so many backs, and I wouldn't think he would get enough carries to achieve 1,000 yards. But I definitely think Greg had it in him. The kid's worked his tail off since he's enrolled at UCF, since he's transferred here. I think he went to Navy, and then he transferred here as a walk-on, and then finally got put on scholarship. But you notice things from Greg since I think he got here. He's always a kid that works his tail off in the weight room, in the practice field, and always in the right spot at the right time. So I wasn't really surprised that he did that. I just thought there wouldn't have been enough carries for him because we have so many good backs.
But it takes special offensive line to help a guy run 1,000 yards as well. And he always gave you guys credit, which is awesome.
We have a great relationship with Greg. He's a great kid. He's got, I think, 2 or maybe even 3 years left here at UCF. So I'm very excited for his future. And he's always been very appreciative. The whole running back crew was always appreciative to us. And, all those running backs made our job a lot easier.
You mentioned a little bit about your future in coaching. Where do you start doing that? I mean, you have a little bit to graduate before you're free, right?
Yeah, so I graduate in May, so I have a little bit of time to figure this all out. But I'm going to hopefully start as a graduate assistant. I can't really say where yet, but the ball is rolling. I've been in contact with many different coaches in this business, people at UCF, people at other schools. It'll figure itself out a little bit better in the next couple months, just because I won't be able to go anywhere or take a grad assistant job until I obviously graduate, which is in the beginning of May. But I plan on this spring, once I get this knee rehab done, or at least somewhat done, I'll be in the kind of like not a student assistant, I would say, at UCF, just helping out during spring ball and being around the building just to stay around and help those guys out.
That's good, and that keeps your head in the game as well. So, Tyler, man, thank you so much for joining us. I wish you well in all your future endeavors, and you've been a great ambassador for UCF during your time, and I will give you the Absolute Heart Award because you have you've done it completely your entire 4 years in your career, and you've done a great job, and we really appreciate you, and we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on here. It's been a privilege. One last thing, UCF has been nothing but great to me. The fan base, everyone involved in the program. I just want to give a big thank you to everyone that's been involved in my journey at UCF, and hopefully someday, if not sooner than later, I can come back to UCF and coach. But if not, God always has a plan. But I appreciate you having me on here, and as always, go Knights, charge on.
All right, well, that was cool to have Tyler Hudanick on again at the beginning of his career and at the end of his career.
We've been doing this a while when we've gotten guys for their whole span of their careers.
Well, like I said, he would be one of the first ones. So
yeah, and a couple of coaches, as we've talked about with the senior class, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but certainly a great ride out into the final 2 years of his career. He certainly, you said it well to him, played with a lot of heart, played through a lot of pain, and anybody that's gone through any sort of recovery, mental game involved, and he had to battle back from all sorts of injuries.
Yeah, I'm bummed that he couldn't continue and maybe try to go to the NFL, but it sounds like that he wants to be a coach, and that's what he's going to do. So, and I talked to him a little bit afterwards, and that wasn't recorded, and he's got some offers out there. There's some stuff. He can't say anything about it, but you'll see. You'll see him do something, and I think that he'll make a great football coach personally.
You know how we talked about it's just only a couple of guys have ever been the children of former football players, so second-generation guys. It's going to be nice when we start to see guys who played with UCF come back to coach with UCF. True. So you see a Kevin Smith in Florida Atlantic. Be nice to have a guy of that stature, that prominence that we can look back on and, pull an interview out with Tyler Hudanick from when he was a recruit, when his career ended as a player.
That'd be cool.
And then join on Knightline again when he's
a coach.
Come on as a coach.
Yeah, and, that would be cool.
Our other news and notes here, you see that some guys go on to other coaching opportunities.
So we talked about the spring game already. I'll give you the date here, Saturday, April 13th at 2:30 p.m. in the baking sun. The next note here, former UCF quarterback Ryan Schneider, Friday night locker room Space Coast Daily Coach of the Year after leading the Cocoa High Tigers to the Class 4A championship, where the Tigers just fell short of winning the title in Snyder's first year.
We had him
on. We need to probably have him on again and talk about that. That's cool, though. That's very cool.
You're talking about injuries. This next guy, I'd love to talk to this next guy because he also battled through injuries.
Another former UCF quarterback, Rob Calabrese, is now an offensive assistant with, unfortunately, the Denver Broncos.
Your new favorite team.
No, absolutely not. No. No. Denver Broncos. So that's cool. He's obviously working his way up. And even while he was still here, though, that last year, I think he was working. And then I think he was here as a grad assistant for a year, maybe after that. He's definitely working his way up. He's in the pros as an offensive assistant. So very, very cool.
And the career goes from there.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's good. I'd like to talk to him.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Looking back on UCF's incredible two-season run and looking ahead to the new Orlando Apollos with Channel 6's Jamie Say, the new play-by-play voice of the Apollos. She's next.
You've heard us talk about the great food at our good friend Kyle Israel's restaurant, The Little Greek Fresh Grill. The Little Greek now has franchises available. Please call 407-697-2272. That's 407-697-2272 to see what The Little Greek can do for you. Also, check out the Little Greek's newest location at 6536 Old Brick Road in Windermere, Florida. The Little Greek Fresh Grill. Fresh, flavorful, fabulous.
A return guest on Knightline, you know Jamie Say is sports director at Orlando's WKMG Channel 6, and soon as the play-by-play voice of the new Orlando Apollos. Jamie joins us now on the Knightline hotline. Jamie, welcome back to Knightline.
Hey, thanks, Trace. Thanks, Andrew. It's great to be with you guys.
Before we talk Apollos, let's talk a little UCF. If you had to look back now, what's your takeaways? What's your memories of this two-season run, 25 straight, the unfortunate loss out in Arizona, but still an incredible two-season run for the Knights?
Yeah, you said it, incredible. That's the word, incredible. It doesn't happen much at all in college football. The remarkable thing I think about this year, there's a couple of things. Obviously, the change in coaching, it was seamless. Josh Heupel came in with his brand of coaching and his brand of football, up the tempo, and the Knights totally bought in, and that's a credit to the players. And it's a credit to that coaching staff, getting them to buy in, and everybody adjusting to each other's personalities. This was an incredibly fun team to watch again. And then the other thing was, UCF was everybody's target this year. Everybody was going at UCF in that conference, in the American Conference, like it was their championship game, and UCF turned back all of them. That was really that's one of the biggest takeaways, is that they got everybody's best shot week after week, and they were able to turn them back. They had a couple of close ones, but not too many. Really fun team to watch. I love the bond between these guys too. Obviously, Mackenzie's injury, we're going to remember this season for that too. And I just hope that he comes back strong and he can play again, for UCF. But, it just says something about the team that they rallied around him, and then they rallied around Darryl Mack. LSU was a really good football team, and we both saw that. We all saw that.
During your career, how would you put the circumstances surrounding Mackenzie Milton's injury? Just the difficulty. You could feel the emotion in the stadium, in the press box, the post game.
Yeah.
How that's still hard to cover, even if you're trying to be an impartial journalist.
Absolutely. You never want to see anybody go down like that. You never want something to be taken away from someone like that. And we all saw in the press box, everybody on the sideline, how serious that injury was as soon as it happened. I think we all knew. And, the stadium was deflated. And it really was devastating because, Mackenzie has been such a visible part of the program since he got here as a freshman. And we've seen him grow into a tremendous quarterback, a tremendous leader, and we've seen him grow as a person. And we've gotten to know him better. We've gotten to know what quality person he is. And I was so sad and kind of sick to see that happen to him. You kind of get that pit in your stomach, and just like everybody else, I'm rooting hard for him to recover from this. And, he just had another surgery the other day. And I just hope that he comes out of this just as strong as he was. Mackenzie, he's such a great kid. He's such a great leader. He's such a great representative of UCF. He's really matured into that leader. He understands his role as a visible leader for the football team. And what can you say? He's just a great, great teammate.
Sometimes social media can drag you down. There are other times where it's uplifting, and the way the community has rallied around Mackenzie, his family, Ohana, the whole spirit of wearing the lays at the game. You can also see out of unfortunate circumstances, it has really brought together UCF as a community even more than had been the case in this two-season run.
Absolutely. One of the things that I'll remember, too, about this two-year run is just how this football team has truly galvanized the UCF fan base. It's the fervor is at a peak right now for this football team, and it truly feels like the football team has embraced its fans as part of the family, and the fans have embraced the football players as their family too. And then to see them rally around Mackenzie with all this positive stuff, and it's reaching him, it's reaching his family, and it's got to be touching them. He probably came here to UCF from Hawaii not knowing what kind of impact he'd make, on this school. He probably just looked at it, hey, I'm going to go play football, I'm going to get my degree. He's become something more than that. He truly is a leader at that school, and his popularity is off the charts. So it's awesome to see the UCF fan base rally behind him. And I know all of us in the media, everybody is just hoping that he gets better, and we're all rooting for him because he's such a great kid.
The streak ends against LSU, but you get the feeling they're pretty loaded. They could start a new streak.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we'll see what happens. They got some tough non-conference games next year, and again, they're going to be the targeted team. They lose some really good guys, on the lines. But then they've got some really in the skill positions, they're still loaded. I mean, Gabriel Davis had a tremendous year this year as a receiver. Their running back core, save for Taj McGowan, is intact. Greg McCrae, who saw him coming? He's coming back. This was Josh Heupel's first year. Imagine what year two could bring. And then you have DJ Mack, who proved he can win football games, and he's going to get competition, obviously, from Brandon Wimbush, who's transferring in from Notre Dame. That'll be interesting to see. Maybe Mackenzie's able to come back. I don't think so. I don't think he'll be back for next season, but you never know. We haven't heard definitively that he won't be. I'm thinking probably 2020 is a safer bet, but DJ Mack's got experience now. Wimbush is very interesting. And then you've got the quarterback from Hawaii, who'll come in as a true freshman, Dylan Gabriel. So there's going to be some competition there too. And I don't see why this team can't go on another run, but winning college football games is very, very difficult. I don't know if they'll run the table, next year, because the American Conference continues to get better. But we'll see.
All right, well, the next really thing that is exciting for you and all of us is this Alliance of American Football and the Orlando Apollos. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved, and you are going to be the radio play-by-play.
I'm really excited to be part of this football team and part of the broadcast crew. Rini Angolia is the color analyst, and Jerry O'Neill, a guy that you and UCF fans should know, is the sideline reporter. The way I got kind of introduced to it was, I remember when the Alliance of American Football announced it was going to have it was forming, and it was going to have a team in Orlando, and they were the first ones to launch because Steve Spurrier went on CBS this morning. And as soon as I saw that and the CBS connection, because CBS is one of its broadcast partners, my first thought was, how can Channel 6 get involved with the Orlando Apollos? Because anything with Steve Spurrier is going to be fun. And then basically a couple days later, after they announced the launch, I had Coach Spurrier in the New 6 studio. We got along really well, had a really good conversation about football. I had him in again in September, and I met the team president, Mike Waddell. We hit it off too. I think I was really supportive of the football team, and wanted to do my best to promote it and get the word out to Central Florida. And Mike Waddell, a couple of weeks later, offered me the play-by-play job, and I was not going to turn it down. So that's how I got involved. And then, when he told me that Rini Angolia and Jerry O'Neill were involved too, I knew it was a no-brainer that we were going to have a lot of fun this season with the Apollos. First game, February 9th at Spectrum Stadium.
How much play-by-play experience do you have?
Actually, my background, I began in radio when I was in college, and I did a couple of football games, a number of basketball and lacrosse games on the radio. My first job out of school was I was the radio voice of the Syracuse women's basketball team and the Syracuse men's lacrosse team. And then I did about 7 years of television play-by-play in Syracuse too, of various sports: basketball, volleyball, soccer, lacrosse, you kind of name it, I did it. And I also the summer before my senior year of college, I did play-by-play for a minor league baseball team, a single-A team, the Houston Astros affiliate. So I do have a lot of play-by-play experience. It feels like it happened in another lifetime because, it was just as I was getting out of college, which would have been around 1999, 2000. But it'll be nice to test my chops again, see how I do at the play-by-play. I know a lot more about football now than I did back when I was 20, 21 doing some games. So I'm very comfortable with the game. I'm very comfortable with what I'm going to see. And now it's just getting the lingo and kind of, getting the reps in. And I feel like every game I'll get better. But I'm really looking forward to it.
So all the teams in the Alliance League are in San Antonio prepping. Are you doing any prep?
I have been doing prep. I mean, I've been meeting with the Apollos management just to kind of get a feel for how the broadcasts are going to go. I've been watching a lot of football, calling some games off television, and, doing some research. And, I'll be at the Super Bowl, and then once I'm back from the Super Bowl and game week, it'll be game week preps just like a football team. I'll be prepping really hard. But yeah, I have definitely been preparing and working hard at that. One of the things that's nice is that you look at the pool of players that the Apollos have in camp. I know a lot of them, a lot of them from UCF and from Florida State and the Florida Gators. So I feel comfortable with that. There are going to be a lot of recognizable names on the opposing teams too, guys we've heard of from big college programs. So that makes it easier. I'm not getting introduced to these guys, basically the day before. But, the key to anything, the key to doing a job well is being well prepared. And that's what I plan to do. The week of the game. You've covered many coaches in your career. What's it like to talk to the head ball coach? Oh, I love it. I mean, he's 73 years old. He's so energized by this opportunity to coach the Orlando Apollos. He's great. He's personable. He loves to talk football. He loves to talk about the Gators. He loves to talk about, games in which the Gators have won. I remember I brought up that I went to Syracuse, and he could remember, certain plays from the Gator Syracuse games. Now, Syracuse and Florida didn't play much, but he could recall, certain plays, who played in the game, what happened this, what happened that. He's great. He's so fired up to coach this football team. I have so much respect for Steve Spurrier because I remember watching him when he had just started at Florida. I was a teenager. I'm watching these Gators, and I'm watching Steve Spurrier just run up scores with no mercy. And it was so much fun to watch those Gator football teams. And to be able to work with him, this legend of the game, is amazing. Tell us a little bit about this new league and how it's different than the NFL. There's fewer teams. There's only 8 teams. So it's an 8-team league, 10-game regular season, and a 2-game playoff. So that's one thing. It's going to go a lot faster. Their goal is to make every game 2.5 hours or less. Half times are going to be shorter. Breaks between quarters are going to be shorter. There's going to be fewer commercial breaks. Another thing is they've eliminated the kickoff for safety. And there's a couple other different rules too. On touchdowns, you have to go for 2. You don't kick extra points. You have to go for 2. Overtime rules are different. Onside kick, there is no onside kick. So to go into all the kind of the different rules, it might take a while, but there are different rules. And it's also backed by a tech company. The Alliance is owned by one company. Every franchise is owned by the same company, so there's no independent franchises or anything like that. So they're backed by this tech company led by Charlie Ebersol, who's the son of Dick Ebersol, who was a longtime NBC executive and who actually co-founded the XFL back in the day with Vince McMahon. So there's going to be some tech differences too. I've heard that they're putting some technology in the football so how fast the pass is going to be thrown. They're really going to stress social media and an app. Not that the NFL doesn't do that, but there's going to be a lot of differences. And right now, they're still ironing out some other things too. So I haven't gotten the complete set of rules yet. Still waiting on the rule book, but there's going to be some differences.
Well, I hope that overtime rule is going to be a little bit different than the NFL, because we saw my team that they got bit by that. I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan through and through, and we got bit hard by that overtime thing. So
in the alliance, both teams get a possession, at least one possession.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's the way that it should be.
Yeah, it's not quite like college, but it's more like college than the NFL. But yeah, I'm sorry about that, because but the thing is, if the Chiefs got the ball, it was just going to go back and forth because those offenses were red hot,
and we couldn't stop anybody. We couldn't stop anybody.
And then the Patriots could not stop Patrick Mahomes too. So
right,
yeah. Next year for you guys.
Well, we've said that for 46 years of my life. So,
but you guys have that young quarterback, that young dynamic quarterback, and gosh, some young dynamic playmakers who just, man, they're hard to stop.
Absolutely.
What's your sense of the buzz in the market? Do you think there's a thirst for the spring league? You think these connections to the programs, there's several UCF guys on there, so it gives the UCF fan reason to go back out to the stadium, tailgate, cheer on guys like Ronnell Hall and Jordan McRae and the like. You think there's interest in what is still a crowded marketplace. You've got the Magic, you've got Orlando City's coming back soon. You think they can carve out their niche and succeed?
I hope so. The Orlando Predators, a couple of years ago, before they stopped playing, they would draw pretty good crowds at the Amway Center, and that's definitely a niche sport. So I hope the Orlando Apollos draw well. They're relying on everybody to come out and support the team. They're going to have deals for students at UCF. They hope they can attract, the students on campus on a Saturday night that are looking for something fun to do. They're hoping to attract families. They're hoping to attract anybody who wants to come and see football. And, the one thing is that I've heard from Apollo's management is the difference between the Alliance and maybe some other failed football leagues outside of the NFL is that the football was disorganized and it wasn't that good. They know they have to put a good product out there. They know they have to put good, entertaining, solid football out there, and that's why they've hired these big-name coaches with NFL experience and major college football experience, and are bringing in these guys and giving them 3-year contracts, so they can all grow together. Probably week one, things are going to be probably a little disorganized, on the football field because, things are still coming together. And it's been a while for some of these guys who have played football. But all these guys, might be a player or two away from the NFL. Garrett Gilbert, the quarterback for the Apollos, he was signed by the Panthers in the last week of this NFL season, and he played a couple of downs for them. Obviously he's not their number one guy, number two or number three for the Panthers, but, there are guys that just missed out on the NFL that are looking to get their shot back. But the Apollos know they have to have a good product, and they're promising good football. And I find that, fans support a team that wins, and that's what the Apollos need to do to get fans. They need to win games, and I think that's their sole focus is winning. I know Coach Spurrier wants a championship, and he's going to be kind of the Pied Piper of this team too. He's going to be out in the community. He's going to be very visible in the community, trying to get fans to come out and support the team.
Is this Alliance of American Football, are they trying to be a farm league for the NFL? Is that what they want to do, is to get these guys chances again to get back into the NFL or Canada or whatever?
Well, I think that's one of the pushes. I think that's one of it. I think they want to be their own entity. I really do. I think Charlie Ebersol saw that there is room for a spring football league. I think they want to be their own league, but they do want to groom guys for the NFL. They do want to give guys a chance to showcase what they can do, and give them opportunities to play, because maybe there are some guys in there that can, succeed on the NFL level, and the Alliance will let those players go. If the players get the chance, if the players do well in the Alliance and they get the chance to go to the NFL, the Alliance is going to wish them the best of luck and say, go ahead, go pursue your dreams. And that's what's going to motivate these guys too. The opportunity to go out to play and show what they can do. But so I think it's a little bit of both. I think they wouldn't mind being a feeder system to the NFL, but they also want to be their own entity too.
And where will we be able to hear you, and what's the coverage plan like for the Apollos?
Okay, so all the games, home and away, will be on Real Radio 104.1 throughout the season. Most of the Apollos games are Saturday nights. There's a couple of Sunday afternoon games. You can also listen to them on the iHeartRadio app if you are out of market and want to tune in. But, yeah, coverage plan is Game 1, February 9th against the Atlanta Legends. We'll have an hour pregame show. Then Rini, Jerry, and I will take over with the play-by-play, have a little halftime, and a little post-game wrap-up. But typically it'll be a half-hour pregame show, and then we go right into the game, and then a post-game show. Just to kind of wrap it up and, get some post-game interviews and stuff like that. But Real Radio 104.1 throughout the season, home and away, and it's a 10-game regular season. So, yeah, we're traveling with the team, so it'll be a lot of fun.
This is an exciting opportunity for you. What are you looking forward to the most?
I'm looking forward to a lot of things. I'm looking forward to good football. I'm looking forward to being more engaged in the action than just an observer, because and I know when you go cover a football game, you're watching it and you're immersed in everything, but you're not completely engaged in what's going on. I have to be on top of the action. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to challenging myself to do play-by-play again. I'm looking forward to that challenge to see how I do as a play-by-play announcer again, because it has been a little while. And I feel like I can do it. I feel like I can go out and do a good job. But I'm mostly looking forward to just being part of the games and seeing some good football.
You coming up with a catchphrase? I see the team's floating "son and gun" as a description of their offense. Are you working on some sort of, boom goes the dynamite, or going for 6 in the cabanas or something like that?
Yeah, I think I haven't planned anything. I think whatever, I'm going to probably let it come naturally. And if something comes out that I like, maybe it'll stick. But I haven't really thought of a signature call yet for a touchdown. Because really right now I'm more focused on, all right, let's get the fundamentals of the play-by-play down. And then, when I'm relaxed and comfortable with what I'm doing, then, every week kind of add something different. That's kind of my goal.
I'm going to be listening for that boom goes the dynamite.
Yeah, she's never going to say
that. There is no way I will say boom goes the dynamite.
I'm going to be listening for it. Since these games are happening at the Bounce House, are you going to call it the Bounce House, or is it purely Spectrum Stadium?
Oh, no, we'll call it the Bounce House. If UCF fans want us to call it the Bounce House, we'll call it the Bounce House. If the house is bouncing. If the house is bouncing, we'll call it the Bounce House.
Well, hopefully it will. It looked like the tickets are being sold pretty good. So
yeah, season tickets start at $75, so you're getting 5 games for $75. That's pretty good. And I'm sure there's going to be deals throughout the season too. I'm not really involved in the marketing and ticket prices or anything like that, but I know season tickets do start at $75, and the more the merrier. And yeah, you can get tickets at OrlandoApollos.com. I hope I see you guys there covering a couple of games.
Absolutely. We will definitely be there.
Excellent.
Hey, Jamie, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We enjoy talking to you.
Well, hey, I appreciate you guys giving me the time, having me on and talking about the Apollos. I think you do a great job. And I look forward to seeing you over at UCF at some point. I know I'll run into you.
All right. Well, very, very cool to talk to her. I like her. She's one of my favorites.
Yeah, she does a really good job and consummate professional.
Absolutely.
And a new opportunity for her, so certainly brings some visibility. Part of that broadcast team is Jerry O'Neill, who has been sideline reporter for the Knights for quite a while, 24, 25 years. And he announced this week he'll be retiring from his afternoon sports radio gig.
Yeah, but continuing with UCF.
And the Apollos.
So very, very cool. He does a great job, too.
Men's basketball, speaking of doing a good job, they bounce back after that debacle in Memphis. We've got analysis from former men's basketball player Ben Stout that is just ahead. Knightline Check it out right now, NightlineSports.com. You can find archived episodes, interviews with folks like Tyler Hudanick. Check it out. Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com. All right, late Thursday night, UCF men's basketball beat UConn 73-67. Season sweep of the Huskies.
Yeah, that's good.
Was it on past your bedtime now?
It
9
was.
o'clock
I
start?
actually laid in bed watching it, actually, for the second half. They tried. UConn really tried to come back in that game.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't think that they ever led, though.
No.
Not once.
No.
So that was cool. Aubrey Dawkins was just nowhere.
That's back-to-back games.
He was missing.
You know, sometimes you get cold. You know, it happens.
Definitely cold.
UCF 6-2 in the American, 16-4 overall.
Good.
Matches the Knights' best start after 20 games in the Division I era.
People were wanting to kill Johnny Dawkins
There's a
last
question.
week.
We'll get to it and ask.
It's ridiculous. I know, and I answered that question, and then I deleted my answer because I was maybe I can be a little harsh sometimes on Twitter.
Well,
but
there was some John today about it.
I know,
again,
it's
on
ridiculous.
Twitter.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, senior guard B.J. Taylor really likes how the Knights rebounded after the letdown in Memphis.
Our whole thing, after the Memphis game was to get right. We had to come back and, get back to being who we were and get back to winning. Coach talked about, us going through adversity with Memphis, and, we wanted to come out here and get a win tonight. It was real good to have Siege, be himself out there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he gave us big buckets out there. I mean, that was huge for us.
Now, C's is Cesar de Jesus. That's who C's is. So I'm still thinking we need to...
Did he say that?
He
did
said
he say
C's.
C's?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought he was talking about somebody
we need
having
to,
a seizure.
not to interrupt this basketball thing, but we need to come up with Daniel Barsky.
The big Orbowski, or Orbowski, or whatever his name is.
I like C's, though. I like that C's. All right, let's get back to this now. Head coach Johnny Dawkins appreciates how the... Ski.
I know.
Head coach Johnny Dawkins appreciates... By the way, Coach Dawkins, technical foul. Or technical...
Awesome.
Because he lost his cool.
Those referees were idiots at the beginning of the game.
They're so dramatic.
They okay.
The one, Teddy Valentine.
I don't
Teddy
know
Valentine.
what it is about these referees recently in football, in basketball, in whatever. They want to be seen. They want to make their impact.
That's what they call Teddy Valentine, is TV Teddy.
Yeah, he wants to make an impact on the game, and they should not. The only time that
he lit up Hurley from UConn and Dawkins.
I know.
I mean, how often does
it's
that
ridiculous. And then didn't call stuff, and then they called that crazy goaltending foul on.
There's some stuff in there that you never see called that they called,
and he was nowhere close to goaltending.
No,
I
don't think so.
Ridiculous.
Either. So Coach Dawkins, appreciates how the team shook off the road loss and took care of business at home.
I think it says a lot about our guys. I mean, the ability to bounce back is important. A lot of times you can have a hangover after a loss, and our guys have had the unique ability to move forward. Not live in the past, and hopefully we can continue to do that. Because that's important to be able to move forward, win or lose. Like, this game is over tonight. We have to move forward no matter what, and our guys have been mature, in that respect.
All right. So during the game, I texted back and forth with Ben. All right. And at one point, you can see this is my response right here. When things were starting to go south, grr.
Yeah.
G followed by 3 R's.
Yeah.
But I like his. It was seriously, and he's got this angry faced emoji. Was his response like, what is happening here? As things were starting to turn,
to unravel.
So, but you get better analysis from Ben inside the paint now than you do in me relaying his emoji conversation with me.
This is Ben Stout calling in to share my thoughts on this week in UCF basketball. Well, after the beatdown on Beale Street that they received on Sunday night versus the Tigers, I know our Knights couldn't wait to get back on the court. I said after that game that Coach Dawkins would have them ready against UConn on Thursday night, and luckily they were able to bounce back and get a big win at home, sweeping the season series against the Huskies. We are now 16-4 on the season. which ties the 03-04 team that I was a part of for the best 20-game start in the D1 era. Going into this game against UConn, I was looking for and expecting our playmakers BJ and Aubrey to bounce back and have a good game. But most of all, I was looking for us to get Taco involved early and often. Being a big man myself, I do understand that I am biased in saying this, but I just feel like whenever we can pound it inside right away and get Taco and Colin involved early in the game, it just opens up the floor so well for the entire team. Luckily for us, that's exactly what we did in the first half. We fed the big man right off the tip for an easy layup and then went right back to him on the next possession, which he put away for an and one. It was the kind of start that we needed in this game, and we established our presence well in the first half. It was also great to see our guys get back to the type of defense that we're known for right away in this game. They were extremely active in the passing lanes, getting a lot of deflections and forcing turnovers, which was an awesome way to start it. I was happy to see us get back to what we do best on defense in the first half, where we forced 10 turnovers and held them to only 33% shooting, going into the locker room with a 12-point lead. In the second half, the Huskies made a lot of adjustments and ran their offense differently than they were running it in the first half. They avoided the middle of the court where those passes were getting deflected before and kept mostly to the perimeter to try and come back. Jalen Adams, who is their best player is probably their best player from the guard spot, he went off in the second half, unfortunately for us. He made a lot of tough shots with a hand in his face, and especially from beyond the arc. Once again, we had a few periods where we lacked some focus on defense in the second half, and they were able to take advantage of it, cutting the lead to 2 points twice in the final 5 minutes to make us fans sweat it out for yet another game. Luckily for us, each time they cut the lead down to that 2 points, we responded with a big play. The first time was when Cesar DeJesus dished a sweet pass on the inside to Chad Brown, and he just posterized this guy with a huge and one. It was awesome to see. Then the second time was right around the 2-minute mark, 2 minutes left in the game, where BJ drove down the lane and made a great play, kicking it back out to Aubrey for a wide open three. Aubrey struggled to find his way in this game after a poor showing in Memphis, but man, that was just a clutch shot when we really needed it, and I'm so glad he was able to knock it down. From that point on, it turned into a little bit of a foul fest and a free throw shooting contest to close out the game, which obviously is a scenario that makes all of us nervous with this year's team. But thankfully, guys, our guys really responded huge to that scenario. They went 10 for 12 from the line in the last minute and 11 seconds of this game, showing that they can hit them when it really counts, and we wound up beating UConn by 6 points. It was encouraging to see them close out the game in that way, and hopefully that can give them a little boost of confidence from the line coming up. Well, guys, it certainly wasn't a perfect win by any means, but I am proud of the way our guys bounced back after that Memphis loss and won a game that they just had to win at home. The last thing that I wanted to point out about this game that I was really happy to see was the play of our bench. Coach Dawkins made the call to go deep into his bench this game, playing guys like Frank Burtz and Cesar DeJesus for extended minutes. These guys, along with the beast Chad Brown, they really contributed big time in this game. We outscored their bench 23-4, and it was really great to see. I mean, it's going to be it is a long basketball season, so the more we can utilize our bench to provide different looks and keep everyone fresh, the better we're going to be as a team. So now we will have 1 week to prepare for the biggest game of the season, with 13th ranked Houston coming to CFE Arena on Thursday night. This team is no joke, and we are going to need to play our best basketball to have a chance at beating them. They are another team that does not have a lot of size, so we are going to have to try to slow down their quick guards and establish ourselves down low early. We also have to win the rebounding battle in this game. There's no more excuses, guys. There's no more lack of fundamentals on boxing out. We just have to win this rebounding battle. We're going to be, and if we can win this rebounding battle, we are going to be right there with a chance to win this game. And you know what, guys? I'm really looking forward to it. I hope we pack the CFE arena and give them a great home court advantage on this Thursday night. I'm hoping that the next time we speak, we have a lot of great things to talk about after a big-time win. So until then, guys, I hope you have a great show. And as always, go Knights and charge on.
It's Ben Stout inside the paint.
Ben does a great job.
He does.
I love
the analysis.
Yeah.
This is a big one. Coming up Thursday. Top 20 ranked Houston. They're at the top of the American. This is it now. This is a big battle. And UCF Mike's coming from the Sons of UCF.
And his 8 kids.
No, they're 11 now.
Oh, it's 11 kids now.
Every time I reference it, I had a kid. I'm up to 11 now on Twitter.
I told him you would babysit.
Yeah, I saw that reference that I'm going to babysit some of his kids. But he'll be there. So that'll be good.
Just make sure the kids enjoy the game.
Well, they might come off the bench as a 6th guy at some point.
You never know.
But no, so you got Houston right at the top there, Cincinnati just to beat off, UCF right in the thick of things, and then Temple, Memphis behind the Cows, SMU. UCF's got a tough stretch coming up. They got Houston and Cincinnati home and away, but time to go 1-0 this week.
It's gonna be interesting to see what they can do against Houston. Houston is a very, very good basketball team.
13th.
I don't think we've played anybody even close to what they are. So
UCF's preseason projection to win the American, and this is one of those games you got to win if you're going to win the American.
Now, was that prediction to win outright the American or to win the American tournament? Like maybe 5 of Houston's players break their ankles or something, and we
I don't think we need that. But
no, I don't want that to happen. But I think that would probably be the only way we could win the American with that kind of a team.
Well, let's see what they do Thursday. Let's see what they do.
We've got talent. We can still get into the tournament.
Oh,
it's not.
That's not gone. 16-4. No, they're 16-4. But you got to take care of business at home.
Absolutely.
And you're playing a team like Houston. You're going to play Cincinnati later. They're just ahead of you in the
standings.
standings.
Like the guys were saying last night on the TV, we need a signature win, and that would be our signature win for sure if we could knock off number whatever they are.
Yeah.
So
fans got to pack out and come out and
I
have
think
a good
it'll
atmosphere.
Be packed. If it's not, something's wrong. It should be packed. That place should be sold out.
It'll be rocking no matter how many.
I hope so. I'm going to be there.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I'm going to be screaming from up there in the...
I still think we should just set up a table. The one with the posters, you, me, UCF Mike.
Maybe we
just
could...
sign the posters. There's never anybody at that table.
We don't have to sign anything, but maybe we could...
Why not just sign the posters?
Well, I don't think anybody wants our autographs.
I'm not sure about that. I asked UCF Mike for his autograph. He said $10.
Well,
he charged me $10.
He said he was going to bring his own picture, too. I don't have any headshots. Do you have headshots?
I have had. I don't currently.
I can use one phone, take your headshot. I'll turn it black and white.
We'll just have people stand with us to take photos. We don't need headshots.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we can. I'm going to be there a little late, though. Maybe after the game. Maybe after the game we can stand by one of the hot dog stands or something and popcorn stand.
Out in front. All right, here's what else is happening in your Knightline planner. Women's golf hosts the UCF Challenge at Eagle Creek Golf Course February 4 and 5. Softball opens Thursday. Had the one-on-one with new head coach Cindy Ball Malone.
Very nice job.
That dropped this week. So
good
go back
stuff.
And listen to her. She's quite chatty and excited about the season. They're going to open Thursday with Ole Miss. Unfortunately, that's a 6:30 start at the UCF softball complex. Basketball's at 7. They're going head-to-head. Yeah, that's tough there. The Friends of Jacqueline tournament features a Friday game with Minnesota. Saturday's games are with Ohio State and George Mason. Sunday against North Florida.
Now, what's the story on this Friends of Jacqueline tournament?
It's a fundraiser.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Gosh,
You
knew I was trying to stump you.
It's a fundraiser.
Okay,
that's what that tournament is. But they attract a lot of big schools for that. Track and field travels to Nashville.
I didn't think you would know
on
that.
the 8th for the Music City Challenge. Also on the 8th, men's tennis is at Indiana. Women's basketball travels to Dallas to take on SMU on the 9th. And men's tennis is at Michigan on the 10th. Men's basketball at SMU. So a couple of opportunities there for Carson Engel.
What year was SMU formed?
Oh, my goodness. I don't know this.
Just playing.
So you can see we got tennis going, basketball's going, softball's going, baseball.
It doesn't stop when football stops.
No. Baseball. Now, less than 2 weeks away from the start of the 2019 UCF baseball season. Now, Knights head coach Greg Lovelady is really counting on a bounce-back year from Anthony George at catcher. George, he missed the previous season, much of it really with an MCL injury. So had an opportunity to talk with him one-on-one during Baseball Media Day. Let's hear that.
How's it feel to be getting back in the swing of things?
It's always a good feeling. Once we start getting back into team things, everyone coming together, it's always fun. Just the team aspect is something that we don't get to practice much just because it's normally individuals or pitchers and hitters are always split up, but team things are always good for us.
How frustrating was it to watch last season from the sidelines?
It wasn't frustrating, more just disappointing the fact that I couldn't be out there helping my team in ways that I knew I could.
What's the makeup of this team? What do you think the strengths will be?
That's a tough question just because I think we're so deep in many different ways. Between hitting, pitching, defense, we got guys that when our top guy isn't in there, we got guys that will step up and do the job just as well.
I think when you look at the team, you go, oh, you lose a big bat in Riley Thomas. But this year over year might be opportunity for some guys to really step up their game, and maybe you don't miss one guy as much because several guys have contributed.
Yeah, I think Closty and Ted Tom are doing a great job just getting the hitters prepared for what the season's going to bring. And guys like Micah, Alejo, Beaver, Osick, we're all going to step up and do our jobs as a hitter.
What about this pitching staff? What can we expect? You got some big names that are not on this staff this year that have gone on to some bigger things.
We got Willie back, we got Spicer back, Trevor Holloway, Zach Hessel. We added some good arms, and we're excited to see what they can do for us.
Who stands out to you in early preseason here really making strides in the pitching game?
I would say Trevor Holloway. He's got really good stuff, and we're excited to see what he can do for us. He lives in the zone, and that's something that is really good for us.
Talk about changing coaches, some different face, brings a different aspect.
So this year we got pitching coach Nick Oddie, and he's been big for us, bringing a different side of baseball. He's a lot more analytical into the numbers, and it's something that really shows with pitchers.
So, what's your outlook for this team? Last year, preseason projections were pretty high. A couple of beats off the pace. Now a little bit more middle of the pack. You like being in that middle spot?
First year with Coach Lovelady, we were seen as underdogs, and that's something that fueled our fire. And I think this year is no different. We expect to be one of the top teams, and we're going to prove that this year.
All right, newcomer on the pitching staff also had an opportunity to speak with. That's junior college transfer Trevor Holloway. Nice kid. Righty led Chipola Junior College, that's in Florida, to the national title last year.
How you feeling so far?
Oh, feeling great and ready to go.
Talk about this adjustment from your JUCO days to here. What are you seeing? How's it different?
It's different from the approach to the game. This year we use a lot more statistics and ways to develop and learn at a little bit faster pace, and that's been the biggest difference this year. And then the guys, this pitching staff especially has been really close, and it's been a lot of fun just because of that.
Talk about your strengths as a pitcher. What's your go-to pitch? Where do you think you excel?
Go-to pitch is a slider. Definitely. I like using the fastball as well and working those two pitches off of each other and just attacking. I'm not going to beat around the bush and try to nip corners. I'm just going to come right after you.
How good can this pitching staff be?
I think this pitching staff can be really, really, really good. We compete, and that's the vital part in winning games. We've got talented guys, but we've got competitors on the mound, and that's a promising sign.
So far, how's team chemistry?
Team chemistry is probably the best I've ever been a part of, and that's part of what's made this year just as fun as it has been. You come to the field, and we're having fun and competing against each other and learning from each other, and that's been a great part of it.
Got a lot of work to do, still a couple weeks to go, but are you anxious to just get going?
Absolutely. Once Christmas break is over and you come back, you can it's just so close, and you're ready to go and play games and get back into the swing of the season and really the fun part and why you come and play.
All right, we're going to hear from other Knights coming up Knightline now, and as well, it'll be Knightline number 180 coming up all before the baseball season starts. We'll hear from Ray Aleo, Dallas Beaver, even Griffin Bernardo, one of your faves.
All right, good.
We'll hear from all of
them.
them.
I was really looking forward to hearing from him.
We will hear from him. Pegasus, Nitro, Nugget, Citronaut, too many mascots? That is one of our questions in Ask Knightline when Knightline number 179 returns.
Hey, Night Nation. It's Adam from the Sons of UCF. Be sure to check out our show every Wednesday only on the Knightline Sports Network. Now, back to two guys who probably won't be Cow of the Week nominees, Andrew and Trace.
Ask a Knightline is brought to you by Chad Barr Law. Chad is a UCF alumnus and diehard Knights fan. Chad Barr Law handles auto accident, slip and fall, and personal injury cases. Call Chad today at 407-599-9036 for a free consultation. That's 407-599-9036. Armor up and call Chad Barr Law today.
Did pretty good requesting questions this week. Everybody was a little asleep at the switch on our Frozen weekend, so we got some more Ask Knightline questions in the inbox this week at hashtag Ask Knightline. Questions you put on our Facebook page or via Twitter. At No Scrub Sports, we're all football starved. Looking at the 2019 schedule, what game do you think will be our toughest?
Stanford. Yeah. They were fairly decent last year. I think that's our biggest... I mean, that's at home, so that'll help. But, Pitt last year wasn't trouble at all. And I don't think any of the conference teams
I'm going to say
really
at Cincinnati.
Okay.
I think that would be a tough one.
Okay.
Conference game, depending on when it is. If it's earlier, if it's later when it's colder up north, I think that one stands out to me as a conference game. I like having Houston at home, Cows at home. Road ones aren't too tough. At Tulane, I mean, they were better. They were in a bowl game, but
I'm going to try to go to that game. That's the one that I'm going to try to go to.
Florida Atlantic is
but New Orleans will be a fun trip.
That's where
Not
CST's Paul Boron lives.
We'll have to meet up and talk some wrestling.
The next one we've got is from Sadis Rochers. What is going to get UCF over the hump in recruiting? I'm ecstatic about this overachieving with limited talent thing, but how long can we keep this up? I think there's a little reference there to, I think it was a Bleacher Report article that kind of said, you win 25 straight games, the national championship, you can't do better than, mid-50s. I do think there's a bit of a ceiling. I don't think you're going to see UCF as long as it's in the American. Ever be in the 20s or the 30s or the 40s?
This is where it's at. We're with the recruits that we're still have to sign, once that is totally final, I think that we will probably be the top G5 team.
Yes, but
Period.
I don't see us being ever much higher than where we are now.
I don't think so. But it's fine. Obviously, we do a pretty dang good job
we do
with what we get.
I think it's just the nature
We've
of
always
the conference.
done that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just not the 4 and 5 star players. Just the 5 star players aren't coming to the G5. They're just not.
Not enough of these guys.
I mean, there's only been one.
Yeah.
There's literally been one. So
we just got to keep being a little engine that could.
But and they don't. I don't think they factor in when they're looking at that stuff. Obviously, the grad transfers that we're getting. I mean, Brandon Wimbush is a huge thing to get from Notre Dame. From somebody to transfer from Notre Dame, grad transfer, and come to UCF. That is what they should have written their article about. They should have written their article about how big of a deal that is.
And we got guys from Alabama have transferred it. I mean, there's other guys that have come in. That's a good sign for the program. Yeah, definitely.
But have a high profile guy like that.
Yeah.
Like a household name kind of guy, so.
At Chris_Couchet. A little cynicism here, huh? Which game will be canceled by a hurricane next season? The takeover of Boca at FAU, home against Stanford. Oh, goodness, no. Let's not have any of this, but you don't want to lose that high-profile game at Stanford.
We're just
somehow on the road against Pitt.
We're going to act like this question never happened.
Okay. Thank you, Chris, for not sending in a question. Yeah. And Facts_UC. Predict what year UCF will leave the AAC for the P5. We need a little, looking into the crystal ball. I mean, not before. There's no chance of this before these big TV contracts with the big power conferences change over. That.
Hold, I got something. Hold on.
as the world turns.
Remember that? We used to play that quite often.
Every time there was a discussion about expansion in one of the leagues.
Yeah. So I guess maybe somebody wanted to hear that. I mean, I think that it's going to be as quick as it's offered. We're there. Like, if somebody offers, we're there. Like, it'll probably take a year, between.
They know everything they need to know about UCF, and they're either going to make the decision to invite us or
We're just
not.
waiting on the phone call or the letter or however they do it, by the UPS delivery or FedEx guy, whoever. I mean, we're waiting.
Me and Angus probably need to do a little more research on this one. He's asking, how much revenue will UCF Athletics bring in from Apollos playing at the stadium? Is there expected to be a noticeable impact, for example, higher coaching salaries? I think that they either have I don't know what their contract terms are. So
they're
if the
obviously renting the place.
5 games at home,
yeah.
So they're paying for use. I don't know if there's a split on concessions and things like that. It's a smart business decision for Danny White.
We should ask the Cows over there because they rent a stadium.
Yeah, what's that?
We should ask how much they. I think they pay $400,000 a game or something crazy like that.
Yeah, I don't think the Apollos are paying that. But I mean, it's a smart business decision for Danny White. It's a stadium that's not being used. Bring in a little bit of additional revenue, and how they decide to use it. I mean, it's adding to their accounts. It's not going to be a ton of money. All right, it's just
but I mean, it's something.
Games.
I mean, they obviously need some revenue. This is I would bet the facility upgrades that money would go. I bet this money goes to that lazy river thing that they're building.
At Adam Terra. Now, he got a little heat for his first question, so he phrased it a little bit differently. So I have included here both phrases. The first question, I think he's just trying to be provocative, is Johnny Dawkins on the hot seat? I'll add they're 16-4.
And I answered that question, and I deleted my answer. But I said
now?
absolutely not. Are you crazy? Absolutely not.
Now, he provided, in his words, alternate wording, which was, what outcome this season would cause the temperature of Johnny Dawkins' seat to raise considerably?
Oh, to raise now.
All right, so
obviously going to the tournament.
We're right now in February. I mean, he loses all the rest of his games. Yeah, people are going to be pretty fired up.
Right.
We said at the outset of the show, they're 16-4. Best 20-game start in Division I era. So, no, we don't want to see him stumble into the conference tournament. The conference tournament is in Memphis. UCF has not played well at Memphis,
right,
in that building and in Memphis at all in basketball. I think the expectations with BJ, with Taco, with Aubrey, that this is an NCAA tournament team, I don't think there is a hot seat equation
Not
here.
Yet, no.
I do think fans would be disappointed, but
last week the fans were all upset and they wanted him. I mean, there were people that were calling for his head.
It's nonsense.
It's total nonsense.
Come on.
It's total nonsense.
I thought UCF Mike, we've got a question from him. I'm referencing him
Really?
a lot in this show.
Wow.
He said,
"Oh yeah,
maybe basketball's where football used to be, where we're waiting for something bad to happen until we get to some sustained winning."
Right.
So, you finish the season strong. They're not going to go undefeated in conference play, right? They've got 2 losses. I mean, there are going to be some losses down the stretch.
There was another guy that was just going crazy last week, and, I mean, just would not stop, and I kept telling him, just take a deep breath. Like, you really need to relax here a little bit. But, I mean, would you rather go back to Donnie Jones days?
No, I don't even want to think about Donnie
I know,
Jones
but that's what these people that are saying these things need to think about. Do you want what's better? I'm stuttering here because I'm rattled by this. What's better? What's going on right now? Weigh the two. I'm doing this with my hands, which they can't see because it's the magic of radio. But which would you rather have? Donnie Jones era of basketball or the Johnny Dawkins? So far, Johnny Dawkins has gotten us to the NIT Final Four, by the way. And, last year not so great. But this year, the best start, like you said, that we've ever had in Division I basketball.
I think we want to win it the same way football's been winning.
It's not going to happen fast.
And let's just see what they do down the stretch here. Conference tournament. I want to see them with a seeding in the NCAA tournament. I don't want to see them one and done.
I'd be happy with one and done.
No, I don't want to see
I
one
would
and
be
done.
totally happy with that because at least we made it there and we can show everybody. Johnny Dawkins can show everybody that we can at least make it there.
And an at-large, if not winning the conference. So,
and there's, I think that there's players that he's getting that are coming in through recruiting and stuff. He's still playing with Donnie Jones players. These are not his players. These are not all his players. He's got Taco and BJ.
Yeah.
And honestly,
I think it's really just,
Taco, he can hold things back sometimes. Yes, he can do his job out there sometimes, but you definitely don't want him shooting free throws. He's hurting us as far as that goes. He's not helping.
You didn't see him down the stretch there with the UConn game. He
can be a little bit. What I meant to say is he can be a little bit of a liability, and at
times in some things.
Yes.
I mean, defensively, he's still
well, of course,
down balls,
because he's 7'6". But when there's somebody a little bit more rounded in some of those spots that's not 7'6", and that's the oddity of Taco Fall, I think even more progress can be made. A guy that is tall and can shoot free throws. Be nice.
Yeah. At UCF Mike 1 on Twitter, he is the one half of the Sons of UCF. He says, "Are you willing to babysit my 8 kids?" Now, editor's note here: it's now 11.
Oh, well.
It's now 11.
He said
they found 3.
A couple more.
They found 3.
Yeah.
So I can watch the basketball game in peace next week. The good thing is he's coming up from South Florida to see the game. And
I replied to him on Twitter to this question that you are a great babysitter. I mean, I've known you for like 4 years, 5 years maybe, I don't know, 4. And you've babysat. I almost said babysitted. You have babysat numerous times.
Niece, nephews.
You take them to Universal, stuff like that. Yeah. So bring your 8 kids.
I'm going to be at the game, though, too.
But, I mean, there's stuff to do there for kids. I mean, I'm sure that the press people, they won't mind if
I
you
bring
sit
in
them
some
there.
of UCF Mike's kids into postgame with Coach Dawkins.
Yeah, running around. Grabbing microphones.
Yeah.
It'll be all right.
They ought to bring him here. Let him run the control board.
No,
that's not going to happen. At Eric C. Henry _ in your guys' opinion, what would be considered a successful season for women's basketball? Reaching the NCAA, at least one win, considering women's basketball hasn't reached the NCAAs since 2010. UConn is going to win the league, right?
Obviously.
UCF, it may be a 2-bid league, the American. UCF's playing for that second position, maybe not a 3-bid league.
Just get it in there. Get them in there.
And probably an at-large berth, right? So they play good defensively.
Imagine this. Just close your eyes for just a minute and imagine if both the men's and women teams were in the tournaments. Just imagine what that would feel like.
We're on the cusp of that.
I know we are.
Yeah.
Just we all need to close our eyes and think about that and will this thing to happen, because that would be success. That would be Danny White's vision of a perennial top 25 sports program, not just football.
I think the answer to the question is getting that at-large berth into the NCAA tournament, and I think they can make some noise and win a game or more. So, to me, getting that at-large berth and just seeing the progression of the program,
just get them in there, and I will be 100% satisfied.
All right, so this one, couple of responses to @fax_UC.
This is a touchy subject.
So the question is, how many mascots should we have? And the question involves Pegasus, Nitro, Nugget, my personal favorite, Glycerin. @Skillern mentioned you forgot the Citronaut. And then @Amanda M. Schaefer says, my 5-year-old daughter keeps campaigning, I like this, keeps campaigning to add a female horse named Ketchup, because who can have a nugget without ketchup?
I don't think that's the kind of nuggets that are happening.
No, she puts her chicken nuggets.
I know, but it's gold
nuggets.
I know, but,
So did you get your
I haven't
Pegasus?
gotten that one yet.
Yeah, it's
no.
a complete.
That's a beautiful cover.
It's a complete football edition.
That
it's
is
just
a
all
beautiful
recapping,
cover.
and on the back,
I love that
Pegasus,
picture.
Nitro, and Nugget.
I have a copy of that picture that I stole off of Twitter. I'm
This
framing
is,
it.
The Pegasus magazine.
That's a beautiful cover, though. That
It
is the best cover. In fact,
One team, one heartbeat. Got a story on the UCF Mom Squad in there.
When we do get that, I'm going to frame that, I think, because that's a beautiful cover.
Look at all the really cool pictures.
Cool.
And Pegasus. Look for it in your mailbox soon.
Speaking of a football recap, I'm a little upset that there was no football recap Nightflix. What's up with that?
Yeah.
Maybe we need to talk to Eric DeSalvo and see what happened with that.
Wonder why.
I thought there would be something.
So the question was, how many mascots should we have? And I created a little bit of heat because I would like to bring back Glycerin, Nitro's girlfriend, and people were decidedly for the most part against this.
I'm good with what we have. I love
It's
Nugget.
not too many.
I love Nugget, though. Nugget is awesome. If I could afford and had the ability at my house to have a Nugget, I would have a Nugget.
You got 9 other animals here, don't you?
Not 9. I have 5 cats and 1 dog.
Oh, we're well on the way to 9. Well, you've got nearly as many animals as UCF Mike has kids.
That's true. It's true.
So you're fine with the number of mascots. You don't want any change in the mascot
good.
situation.
And I wasn't here. I wasn't involved when Glycerin was around. I mean, and I kind of do like Nitro and Glycerin. I mean, it's
you ever seen
cool.
a picture?
I have, yeah. It wasn't great back then. They would have to obviously update. Nitro has been updated.
Yeah, Nitro got a new look.
Yeah.
Probably 10 years now.
Yeah.
Nitro.
So, they need to, if they're going to do that, I mean, I guess, I don't know, these days with gender equality and all this stuff, maybe they need to do it.
I just thought it would be...
maybe they need to do it.
I'm trying to find that picture. You've seen the cartoon picture or the actual picture?
I saw an actual picture. Somebody had it on Twitter the other day.
Okay.
They were standing by the fountain, right?
Yeah. Look at
it's bad. It's horrible. Nitro was horrible at that point.
That's
and who's the kid?
That's just a kid.
Oh,
but
okay.
but I remember there used to be coloring books, comic books, coloring books, and there were little Nitros that looked like maybe they were kids.
I mean, how you could have 25 of them. I mean, you could have Mike.
There's just a lot. There's just a lot going on when you zoom in.
Yeah, that's a little risque, actually. Those are quite defined.
I know this isn't helpful as you're listening while you drive or you're on the treadmill, but just Google.
She's got quite her pecs are quite defined.
Goodness, thank you, everybody.
That's all I'll say.
For sending in your questions. Hashtag,
she's very muscular. Oh yeah, I may have said too much, but
Perhaps.
that's all right. It's all good.
Nobody is still listening. Nobody's.
And now, news and notes from the world of UCF sports. All right, we talked about this earlier, but women's basketball rallies to beat Houston 58-56. The Knights moved to 7-1 in the American and 18-3 overall.
Men's tennis not doing so well. Dropped their 2019 home opener to number 4 ranked Florida. Rough start to the season. The men now 0-4.
Ooh, somebody's getting fired.
It's completely unacceptable at this
Completely
university.
unacceptable.
I don't remember any Twitter chatter about men's tennis
Somebody's
this
getting
week.
fired. Women's tennis falls from number 22 to number 23 in the Oracle ITA rankings after going 1-1 during the ITA kickoff weekend.
Women's golf finishes third in the Florida Challenge. Elizabeth Moon tied for medalist honors.
All right, and finally, just judging by the turnout for UCF women's basketball the other night, it's more than safe to say a hit. Nugget, we mean. UCF distributed 1,000 bobbleheads of our newest mascot. What's next? A statue?
What do you think?
Should we I'm good. We need a... In fact...
Oh, boy.
The statue could be right beside George's, and George could be petting Nugget. That'd be awesome. That would be cool.
The softer side of George.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure he likes ponies. We'll have to find that out one of these days.
Do you think that on Nugget's statue it has mascot in quotes? Like George's statue has coach in quotes?
It has quotes?
Around coach.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, who did that? That's not right. Yeah. Maybe
whenever I'm out at campus, I stop by and take a picture
Maybe
with George.
It should be parentheses or something, but not quotes.
Quote mark.
Yeah, coach.
Yeah, coach. But why?
I don't know.
Why?
That's weird.
Statue. Mascot.
That's weird.
I like that location, though, right next to George.
Yeah, well, I think there probably will be, maybe there'll be a Heupel, maybe there'll be a Mackenzie Milton statue there one of these days. So Blake Bortles, maybe. I don't know.
Do you think it's a campus that needs more statues?
Well, I mean, we don't have nearly enough. There's
one.
A lot.
There's one.
Well, there's all the...
Well, not of people.
Yeah.
Or horses.
Where's the John Hitt statue? There should be a John Hitt statue, for sure. There should be.
Maybe.
I think there should be. All right. Well, this has been Nightline 179. Thank you for listening. I'm Andrew Phegley.
I'm Trace Trylko. Go Knights!
Charge on.
UCF, charge on to the field. With our spirits, we'll never yield. Black and gold charge right through the line. Victory is our cry. BSCTO,